Hello and welcome to another Tuesday TED Talk. I'm here to talk to you about, well, before we get into that, I just need to talk to my sports fans real quick, particularly my college football fans. Now, it's a different year, it's a crazy year with sports, particularly college football. And we have our first major head coach firing. Happens to be my alma mater, but nonetheless, that's something that should have happened a long time ago. So, that notwithstanding, my question to you: do college football coaches deserve to get fired this season, given all the restrictions? No training, no real preseason, no non conference whoop ass games, and COVID being stricken all over the place and impacting players, impacting games. We had conferences that started late. We had just a whole change in it's just not a normal college football year. So do colleges and coaches, teams that are in the gutter right now, that are usually not. You have Florida State. Lately they've been kind of up and down, but they're hanging out with Syracuse right now in the bottom of the barrel. Penn State, Michigan. Yes, the Big Ten started late, but they haven't won a game. They haven't won a major game yet. So do those college coaches deserve to be fired? Or do they get a pass this season? Do they get the opportunity to bring it around and start fresh next year, which we hope will be normal? We hope will be a real season. That's my question to you. I'm really curious what your thoughts are. I have mixed feelings because I love college football so much, and I love to see teams that I love do well. And this year, just not happening. Even Oklahoma struggling, which is very rare. Let me know. Right down here in the comments. Get at me. AD_Foster, Twitter, Instagram. And now the real reason why we're here. We all love dogs, or we don't. And today I want to talk to you about the cutest ugly ones. And maybe you might have one. And maybe you're thinking about getting a dog, and you might get one of these. Okay, so as I was thinking about what to talk about this week, I just figured we need some comedy. We need to kind of unwind, and we need to relax. So what better topic than animals? And I figured I would go with the not so cutest dogs, because he's insulted already. It's there's their dogs are great animals, and I've grown to love them, and a huge dog fan. And whether you are or not, you've seen some of these dogs, and you've liked some of these dogs. You may even have or know somebody who does. And again, not insulting. I'm not trying to insult. I'm just having a little fun at our favorite four-legged friends, man's best friend. And we start off with number 10. And these dogs are huge. I'm talking about the Neapolitan Mastiff. You know, the big dogs, their head is disproportionate to their size of their body. And they can go to the size of a moose, but they act like such a puppy. They are the most docile things. And yet, they have so much skin. They're so shaggy and they're so saggy and wrinkly that almost gives them the cuteness. You don't know whether to react to their sagginess and the wrinkles or just their enormous head. But yet, they're the quickest dog to jump in your lap. And forget if you see them when they're puppies, because you're going to want to take one home. They are the cutest thing. Like most things are when they're babies, but these guys for sure are the cutest thing ever. Number 9. Now, I dare you to say this word fast once, let alone 3 times, and it's the Zoli Scutini, or just Zoli for short. And I know I screwed that up, but the Zolit Zuntili is a Mexican, actually Aztec name. It comes from that region, and it comes from the Aztec name for dog. And they come in 3 different sizes: standard, miniature, and toy. And they look like little reindeer. Very stoic, very stout little things. And the way they act, a little prancy. And these were considered gods by the Aztec and the Mayans. And so I know when I was younger, I had a King Charles. And so I got excited when I thought my dog was a king. And so you get one of these dogs, you can tell your kids that and neighbors that this dog is an Aztec god. Up next, we have the Puli. Now, I've not seen one of these dogs before, but they are famously nicknamed the Mop. As you can see why. It's a Hungarian herder, and they have these tight curls, which are we love them as owners. They're waterproof, basically waterproof. So water just rolls right off. No need for the raincoat or need for the after walk towel, which is what we have, because our dog doesn't want to wear raincoats. She's anti-raincoat. This is a very active, very intelligent, self-confident dog. I mean, you have to be self-confident looking the way that like you do there, don't you? I mean, it reminds me of the sheepdog on the Bugs Bunny characters shows. And this dog is very agile. Again, giving its sheep herding nature. One would imagine it's very agile, playful, and even in their advanced age, they are playful. But shaggy. Now, these dogs, their next dog, reminds me of the wipers in a car wash. Those things that go and flap on your car. And that is the Bermasco. And this dog it's another sheepdog, and it's a very matted coat, and which would be described as some like it has dreadlocks on it. And another Bermasco Shepherd is also an Italian sheepdog, much like the Mastiff. I forgot to mention they're both from the Italian Alps, and again a herding dog. What is it with these dogs that have the wool over their eyes or their fur, yet they're sheepdogs, they're herding dogs. They're supposed to be watching out for the sheep and goats and things like that, but yet you would think that they're being fooled, and because it seems they can't see where they're going. Again, totally what the cartoons sheepdogs were modeled after. I guarantee it. Now, this is my favorite. I think of the list, one of my favorite kind of cute looking dogs. I call this the Ewok, but it's really the Brussels Griffon. And originally bred to hunt and kill rats. This Belgian street dog is a distinctive and an unusual. I don't think I've seen one around here. Maybe once in New York City, but it's very small. It doesn't tend to get very big, and very affectionate, very lively. And I mean, some people think it looks like a monkey. Apparently, this is the model for the dog in The Grinch, as we have holiday time coming up. But this was the kind of dog that the Grinch's dog was modeled after. And again, I still think it's an Ewok. And this would be a dog that's hard not to give some affection to, just because it's so darn cute. Now these are more normalish of the group, if you would say, I would think. But the Dandy Dumont Terrier is, um, if you put tiny, very short legs and puffy hair and a little kind of maybe a bigger head than should be on a little tiny body. And that's would be the kind of dog you would get with a Dundee Dumont Terrier. And its debut goes all the way back to the 1700s. And it's a hunting dog, which you would not think based on its size and its kind of very small nature. But it used to be used for hunting otters and badgers. So it's why it's nicknamed the Badger Dog. And this one's not one of those ones that like to be left alone for long. So if you get one, you're going to need to give it a lot of attention. Very outgoing, very sweet, and friendly. But there's a lot of hair on that dog. Coming in at number 4 in my list is what I call the foo-foo dog. And this is the kind of dog, if it's not a Chihuahua, it is the Chinese Crested. And this one I see walking around in billionaire homes, all jeweled up, all fancied up with its kind of skinless dog. And even though some consider, and some versions of it can be very, very ugly and almost like a rat, it can also be very foofy. And it's a very couch potatoy dog if it's not prancing around on the showroom floor. And it's a very smart dog, which is good. And there's 2 varieties. There is Powder Puff, which is probably the ones that are going to enter the contest. And then there's the Hairless, which are ones that are probably going to scare a lot of people just because it looks like a rat. Now, this next dog, I didn't know what it was. I saw one in our neighborhood, and I was like, what is that? And now, doing research for this show, I discovered we have a Bedlington Terrier in our neighborhood. And it looks exactly like it is. It looks like a sheep. Is it a sheep? Is it a dog? Is it a dog? Is it a sheep? It's a Bedlington Terrier. And it has a very poodle look to it. And it's named after the mining town of Bedlington, North England. And so again, a lot of these dogs came to us from the UK. No surprise there. But this was, it's a sport dog, actually. It's very fast. And it was used for racing and as well as show dog. I mean, you could see by the look of the dog that it has a very unique nature, and with its fur and everything and upkeep on the fur, it probably does pretty well in the shows. Very smart, very calm, and woolly. Very distinctive too. So it's one of those dogs that does not look like any other dog. And so if you have one, maybe you're a cool person on the block. Now, if you were a kid of the 80s or maybe the late early 90s, you know what a bull terrier is. Or like I call it, the Spuds MacKenzie dog. And we've all seen it. Maybe you have. If not, go search YouTube for the Spuds MacKenzie dogs, and you'll see tons of commercials with Spuds MacKenzie. And this terrier's distinct features of the egg head and very flat but slopey. And so it just gives it a shape like almost no other dog, and it's very distinctive, especially as far as terriers goes. And it's very comical and mischievous. It's considered one of the most mischievous dogs in the dog kingdom, and very muscular. They're a very very agile, they like to run around and move around. They're a terrier. They like to be active, and so when they do, they become very muscular, and almost, again, if you imagine because of their look, because of their face, a little clown-like, if you will. And again, go look up Budweiser, go look up Bud McKenzie. So now we come to the last dog of the countdown. Again, just something I threw together, finding some fun-looking dogs, funny-looking dogs, cute but funny dogs. And number one is the Dachshund, and is also known as the wiener dog. Or badger dog, or sausage dog, that long body, short tiny legs, long ears, and they're unmistakable. They were bred to hunt badgers, and so their long, skinny bodies help them get right in there to those badger holes. So another dog that would be a good hunter. A lot of hunting dogs on this list. Now, fun fact: which came first, the hot dog or the Dachshund? I'll give you a hint: it's not what you eat. Don't even tell me you eat Dachshunds. But the Dachshund came first, and it was before it was a hot dog. It was called a Dachshund sausage, and then the product eventually became the hot dog. The Dachshund was also the first ever Olympic Games mascot. Being from Germany, 1972 games held in Munich, they had the first ever mascot, and it was a Dachshund. Also, making the history books, the first dog to be successfully cloned was a Dachshund named Winnie. And so you can see why the Dachshund is one of this country's, America's, most popular pets. Also one of the most eyed at, funny little dogs that we see around in our neighborhoods. I hope you enjoyed this week's show. This is Bella, our Shiba Inu. Not an ugly dog whatsoever. She's too damn cute. And I hope if you have one of these dogs, I'd love to know what you think of them and what their cutest trait is. If you think about getting a dog, maybe you get one of these. Until next time, I'm Scott Foster, your host for Tuesday 10 Talk. Hey, look, an easy place to find all my Tweet Talks and my Tuesday 10 Talks. Thanks.